I want everybody to close their eyes. Close your eyes. Don't fall asleep. This is not a trick question. So, nobody has their eyes closed. Everybody close their eyes, just for a second.
I'm sleeping in Nick's boat.
Cody Joshua Wendell.
Don't you dare call me.
I want to go way back. I want to go way, way back. Do you know that at some point we're going to learn that we're all sort of related biologically? If you go back and back and back, we're not just related to a common ancestor, human-wise, which we may or may, you're basically cousins with almost everybody in here, except for me because I don't come from this planet. But everybody else from this planet, you're at least cousins 250 times removed. Say what?
Hardy,
What? You're from Uranus?
Hardy,
all right, you guys. When you go back, keep going back. Ultimately, though, we all have the same ancestor, the very same individual.
Is it a Native American?
Dude, that guy must be fast.
Or caveman?
It is not a Native American, nor is it a caveman.
A Native American.
Inside of us, we all have the DNA from one individual organism.
Was it that sponge?
Hi.
You're getting closer. You're getting closer. Yeah. There's the sponge. The sponge is definitely a close cousin. When we go back, actually, Patrick is much more advanced than SpongeBob. You might not pick up on that from the cartoon, but Patrick is millions of years ahead of SpongeBob evolution-wise. But no, the one organism whose DNA we all come from, Travis Rose.
Oh, sorry. What's Travis?
Anybody know what kind of organism that was?
Bacteria?
Water.
You just saved everybody like 10 minutes. Yes. Bam.
Boom.
Right.
10 points.
It's a cell.
Ray Rose, DRI.
Everybody all has a common ancestor of one cell. And because that's where it all started, folks. Life happened. Okay, first of all, how old is the Earth?
6,000 million billion years old.
That is not really true.
We don't know.
There is no such thing as a jillion. But
We don't know actually. It's after
no, we do know how old the Earth is. We do.
2 billion years old.
It's about 4.5 billion years
That's
old.
close.
Wait.
That's
3 billion.
that is. Hold on. Let's see how many times. How many times your lifetime is that? Let's see. Let me find my calculator here.
15.
There's the calculator. Hold on.
Oh, dude, that's for about
Can you write
45000. That's
That's
45,000.
That's when Mars
4,500,000. Okay, so divided by 70.
Oh my god.
No.
That's
Trevor.
64,285,714 human
days.
lifetimes.
Holy
What?
So that's that. Just to give you some perspective. So you would have to live 64 million plus, well, 64 million and change average human lifetimes of
I can do
70
that.
years.
I'll beat you
No
guys.
problem. No problem. So by the time you get done with 64 million, there's only 285,000 human lifetimes to go. You're almost
If
there.
you turn me into a vampire, I bet I can do that.
Well, you probably would, I guess. But
I hate
the
it.
point is, though, if you, what's that?
Are there vampires?
Are there vampires? You guys, let's not sidetrack into that. You guys are,
That's serious.
come back to me here.
Yeah,
Okay, listen up. So here's the thing. When you go back, they actually estimate that life started pretty early on. That there was about 500 million years. That's not going to work, is it? Hold on. They figure there was about 500 million years.
That's so mean.
No life. Okay, guys, I want you to stay with me. I don't want you to be talking about other stuff while I'm trying to get a thought going here. 500 million years, no life. So the Earth you guys don't know much about what the Earth was like back then, but I'll suffice it to say it was pretty gnarly. It was very hot. There was volcanic activity everywhere. We didn't really have an atmosphere, so there was radiation bombing down on the Earth all the time. Not a cool place to live. We would not have lasted 10 minutes. There was no oxygen in the atmosphere. The atmosphere was all made of like methane gas and acid vapor and like bad stuff. There was bad stuff going on. What's that?
Look like Mars.
Mars, except for about 10,000 degrees hotter, sort of. Yeah, really, really inhospitable. And after about 500 million years, it starts settling down a little bit. And that was the first life. And so we just stop for a second, and maybe as you go on about your life and your day, think about what that life must have been like. What did it do? Well, what did it do? In order to be life, you must have had some molecules that could do stuff, right? You had some molecules that could make energy conversions and get stuff done. But ultimately, you had to have something that could reproduce itself. Because life might have happened 1,000 times during this 500 million years. You might have had some sort of little cell that had a barrier on the outside, right? That's what a cell is. You got your outside. You got what's called your cell membrane. Sure. You can have this part, cell membrane. That's the flexible barrier between the outside of the cell, which is the cruel world, and the inside, which is where all the yummy goodness is kept. All that yummy life that we're trying to keep alive, right? And so, if you think about the very first experience of life, it might have happened, heck, it might have happened once during this no lifetime. It might have happened 10 times, might have happened 100,000 times, might have happened 1 billion times, might have happened every day, but until this thing could do one of our major parts of life, which is to reproduce, then it didn't matter. It wasn't really life. Might have been. It could have just been a bag of chemicals that could do some stuff, carry out some chemical reactions. But until you could make new life that was basic, well, just to let you know, we're a lot like our parents. Bacteria are more or less identical to the one that came before them. That's so, I know this one looks smaller, but it's got to grow a little bit. It's a baby. But the point is that that's life, right? It's not life until it reproduces. That's one of the things that we learned really early on in this course. And so, in order, and then not only does it have to reproduce, what are some of the other things that living things do? Who can remember some of the stuff that living things do?
Poop.
Okay. Excrete. If something poops, what does that mean it also did? What? Ate. Yeah, ate. So eat and excrete. In other words, fuel and waste. Can you guys even see that? Green.
Eat plus waste.
Fuel and waste. So yeah. So okay. So this thing had to have a way of taking in yummy goodness from the outside world. So stuff, food had to go in. And where's the brown marker? Okay, now bacteria don't really poop, but just so somehow this food had to go through a process of.
That says fool.
It says food, fool. You're right, it looks like an L.
It was an apple.
Now it's a D. And so we had to, you had to get the energy from this food, and the energy helped this whole thing do its life. And then after that, it was just waste. You guys with me there?
Yeah, I am. They're talking. I don't know.
So you're turning food into waste, and then you're going to excrete that. Yeah, that's definitely a big part of life. So it can eat and excrete. It can reproduce, which we've talked about. it can do other stuff to keep itself alive. There were other things when we talked about the unifying themes of life. One of them was just keeping yourself alive, maintaining a stable internal environment, and part of that comes because a cell has this membrane, which we're going to learn a lot about how it works. Because if you think about it, you can't be alive unless you keep the outside out. Got to keep the outside out. The outside is not cool. The inside is what's cool. Inside has to be alive. Outside doesn't matter what's going on out there. That's the whole thing about a cell. And so, all right, so that's good. That's what a cell does. Cell's got to get food. Cell's got to stay alive. We'll talk more about that at another time. It's got to reproduce. That's pretty good for right now. And so, how long do you think it was until life was more than just that? Like more than just one cell. And by the way, you got a little tiny ring inside of bacteria of what? What substance does every living thing have inside? Say what? Not oxygen. It's using it might not, actually, early bacteria didn't even use oxygen.
Protein.
3 letters.
H2O.
Good guess. That's 2 letters, but still, that was all right.
What's the start?
Wait, did you have your hand up? No. Okay.
What's it start with?
It's 3 letters. I'm not going to give you any letters. Come on.
DNA.
What? Yes, it's DNA.
Ooh.
DNA. Yeah, I just did that. I know. I just did that. Don't ever let my wife see this video. DNA.
What?
I'm not allowed to dance for obvious reasons.
I thought that's how you won over the ladies, Mr. Avon.
What's that?
You said that's how you get your women.
No, that's how, no. Sadly, that's not really true. That's how I get the ladies to go away. All right. Every living thing has a little ring of DNA inside of it. Now, who knows what's different about our cells? See, it was a lot of time. First of all, how much time was it?
500 million.
No. It was 500 million years till these things appeared. How much time was it until animals? How about that?
5 million.
5 million more years? Well, 500 million is 500 million.
Probably
100 billion.
a good billion.
Good billion? Now you're getting closer.
Good billion or
Huh,
two.
good billion.
So, okay.
1.3 million.
So if this was year 0, Earth forms. Year 500 million, first bacteria. All right. Is that on camera? If I'm over here, am I on camera?
No.
No,
Don't!
a little bit. Right there.
Uh-oh.
1 billion. Oh.
I'll do it over here. Year 0, no life.
I was home. If you tilt it up a little bit, you can.
Ah, really? I'm not even on camera here?
Yeah, really.
You guys are terrible at science, I swear. I'm just kidding. I blame you guys.
Yeah, you need
I'm
to
more
tilt
of
it
a
up.
math person.
How about here?
I'm more of
Go
a
down.
down. Down. Yeah.
Right, yeah.
All right. Oh man, I can't do a timeline on here. So okay, so 0 to 500 million, and then we're talking about where can I go here?
Yes. Wait.
Now,
This thing sucks, and I don't have my glasses on. You're too high up.
really?
Yeah. How about
No, hold on, leave it.
You gonna fix it?
Oh no, you can see it.
Okay. So all right. So this is 4.5 billion. And so between 500 million and now, or 500 million years and now. Trevor's saying it's a billion years. We're almost to where I want to be here, folks. So 500,000 years. How much time goes by before there's animals? Tell me when to stop.
Stop.
Nope.
Stop.
Nope.
Stop.
Okay. It was only about 500 million years ago,
I did.
I doubt it was 5.
that animals appeared.
5 years ago.
And actually, believe it or not, they weren't bunny rabbits.
They were dinosaurs.
But that's all I can draw right now.
They were vicious dinosaurs that would eat.
T-Rex.
And cavemen.
Whoa,
It's not a bunny.
What is that?
that's a bunny rabbit.
It's like a deformed bunny that
Prehistoric bunny rabbit.
some weird.
So here's the thing, folks. For the first, so that means that for the first
billion.
3.5 billion years. In other words, more than 3/4 of the time that life has been on Earth, it was just one cell at a time. For the first that's my point. For the first 3.5 billion years that there was life on Earth, it was just single cells. Now, the last thing I'm going to tell you is that this was the original prototype, the bacteria. It's called a prokaryote. This is your next to last vocabulary word.
What is that?
Prokaryote. I'll draw it better. I'll write it better.
What's a
Prokaryote. Karyote. Prokaryote. Yes.
Someone's good at karaoke.
It is not.
I just said that.
Prokaryote. Pro means first.
So
Like a prototype is a first version of something. Prokaryote was the prototype of cells. And it turns out that there was one change, and it happened about here, about 1.5 billion years ago. BYA. 1.5 billion years ago, we had a new kind of cell on the block, and I'm going to draw it right here. This will be sort of the last thing, and I'll show you guys a little animation.
Woo! Animation.
Is it? Okay, so I'm going to put it in perspective. Have you guys looked at cells like under the microscope or stuff anywhere, like in 7th grade or something?
Yeah.
You look at cells, or you scrape some off of your cheek. Did anybody ever do that one?
Oh yeah, we did.
Take a toothpick, you scrape your cheek, and you put it on a microscope slide, or sometimes maybe you look at a slide that your teacher gave you,
Henderson did that with us.
and you see Miss Henderson's awesome.
I love Miss Henderson.
Yep.
She's awesome.
She's a nice lady.
Don't know who that
You like her.
But anyway, those were eukaryotic cells, and they're like these blobby cells that have, what do they have inside of them? Name something that goes inside of here. Nucleus, yes.
Oh my god, I was just about to say that. Are we discovering an atom?
No, no, we're describing something that's made of cajillions of atoms, to steal Harmony's word. Yes, there's a nucleus inside, and that's where all the DNA is. See, the original, look, that's the original, that's the prokaryote, that's the bacteria. He didn't have a nucleus for his DNA, he just had a little tiny ring of it, and it was all exposed to the open. Nucleus has a whole little bag, it's like a cell inside of a cell, where they keep all the DNA. It's like the computer lab. And then there's all sorts of other stuff that we're going to learn about. But this is what we call a true cell. And here's your last vocabulary word. Actually, there's one more, but I'll tell you. But a true cell is called a eukaryote. E-U-K-A-R-Y-O-T-E. Eukaryote. A true cell. So that's the real thing. It's got its DNA in a separate compartment, and then it has, this is really the last word, all this outer stuff isn't just water. It's kind of like this water mixed with proteins, mixed with salts and stuff. It's called the cytoplasm. The cytoplasm is just all this. You can just think of it as cell goo.
I'm lost.
What? You're lost? What? It's the liquid that fills all the rest of the cell.
Yeah, that's
What
nasty.
is that?
No, it's a cytoplasm. Eukaryote is what you call this whole thing. The whole cell is a eukaryote.
This kind of reminds me of ectoplasm.
It's true. Yeah, cytoplasm is just so it's cell liquid.
So
Cell liquid. That's what it is. So, folks, make sure you got that. I'm going to give you a minute. Make sure you have that because this is what's important. Look at this. The eukaryote, the cells that we're made of, a good 30, 40 plus times bigger than the prokaryote. So for 1.5 billion years, this is all there was. Only game in town. If you wanted to be alive, you were this tiny little guy, and you struggled along. And they survived for quite a long time. They're very successful, don't get me wrong. They're still all over the place. But then about 1.5 billion years in, you got the big guys here. And we'll learn about how these formed at another time. It's kind of a fascinating story that I'm sure you will love. But for right now, just know that a true cell is called a eukaryote. It's got a nucleus, or a nucleus, as lots of y'all say, which is incorrect. And it has cytoplasm, which is this cell liquid that has all sorts of other stuff in it that we're going to learn about. But that's all you need to know right now. Cytoplasm. Cyto is another word for cell. I think cyto is a Latin word. Karyo is a Greek word.
Nucleus or something from math.
What's that?
Nucleus, isn't it like from math?
Nucleus?
No, the other thing, the one that was wrong.
Nucleus?
Yeah.
I don't know. It's the way people say nuclear, too. Nuclear. Like
Nuclear.
a nuclear bomb.
George Bush.
It's nuclear.
the N bomb.
Nuclear.
Nuclear.
Nuclear. America. Here in America, we say nuclear.
Nuclear.
Here in America. All right, so we got a couple minutes left. I'll tell you what. Let me show you a couple pictures. Bam. You guys good with this? No, that's fine. Okay.
They hate us and I like them.
Who hates us?
North Korea.
They do.
North Korea has everyone. Even themselves.
They're the Regina George.
Is there homework?
Yes.
No.
Yes.
Ha! Called.
You should read the first section of the cell chapter, chapter 6. So notice how we're splitting the biology assignment area because I have a block 4 biology class now. And so you'll be up here all year. Why don't you read section 6.1, which is the first section of chapter 6. Mr. Evan, would you mind looking up what page that is for me? You got the book right next to you there?
I'm all good.
You all good? Okay.
You're looking for 6-1?
Yep. This is the page number for
6-1 is
6.1.
page 110.
Okay.
Goes to 114.
Page 110 to 114. Okay.
I don't know. I'm trying to figure it out.
All right.
When they marked that. Nothing.
You're never having kids. I used to say that.
That's not what I said. It's far from what I said.
And now I say it again.
I probably missed the top socket that doesn't
I still say it.
I'm gonna have twins and get water bottle.
Hey, water bottle, get over here.
Twins running.
I'd rather be water than
I
bottle.
was a twin.
I'd rather be bottled than water.
I had
Big and fun.
I was one of the little
I could have baby. I wanna live.
Bless you.
Okay.
When I was little, I had
At least I'm not
so many
in social studies
my
once.
brother.
You failed it?
Yeah, you did. You didn't even show up in the exam.
You lied.
All right, y'all. Tell you what. Will somebody come and just push the red button on that? Because I don't think people need to see this. This is. I don't think this part's necessary. Goodbye.